All right, so TINUBU was honored today in St. Lucia. The shocking ties you didn't know. I'm looking at a special report by Punch Nigeria, and today they said the president of the St. Lucian Senate, Alvina Reynaud, has emphasized the island's ancestral connection to Nigeria by citing an 1815 British census that documented the origins of enslaved people in the country. Reynolds shared this historical insight as she welcomed President Bola Tinubu to a joint session of St. Lucia's bicameral parliament on Monday, calling his presence a historic moment for both the parliament and the people of St. Lucia. According to Reynolds, the record showed that out of 16,282 enslaved individuals, 3,488 were born in Africa, with 34% from Nigeria, 11% from Nigeria-Cameroon region, and 22% from the Congo, while the remaining 12,794 were born in St. Lucia. She said Tinubu's presence is historic for his parliament and the people of St. Lucia. I also saw earlier on that Peter Obi was dragging President Tinubu yesterday. He said, don't quote me verbatim. No, Mr. President. This is not the time for vacations. What do you have to say about this one, sir? It's your turn.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Beyond what you have just quoted, it will also interest you a lot that the second post-independence chief judge of Nigeria, the late Sir Alexander Daly, who succeeded former Chief Justice Taslim Elias, who was the first, I think, Nigerian to serve as a judge of the World Court in Hague.
Right.
Alexander Daly actually was from this same island country in the West Indies that we're talking of. So beyond the historical bond, the heart-wrenching, the heartbreaking phase that was known as the slavery period, in which, from what we now know, thanks to documents made open during the reparation crusade of the late robbed president of Nigeria, Chief Moshood Kakimawolawale Abiola, more than 20 million able-bodied Africans were moved forcefully by precursors to modern day, it was the modern day bandits and what have you, who were all over Africa, Arab slave raiders and internal subversive individuals who marauded as successful slave merchants, forcefully transporting people in chains across the Atlantic. What's it called? The Middle Passage is such a shameful phase in the relations between countries of the West, that is Europe and the continent and the peoples and continent of Africa. So, yes, Obi may have been genuinely concerned. Peter Obi may have been genuinely concerned, not just as an opposition politician, but because of the troubling internal issues of the day in Nigeria, namely terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and natural disasters, particularly from a place such as the Niger State, Mokwa, which he mentioned that the president never visited, in order to commiserate with victims of dastardly flood that killed several people and made it an eyesore for us all to witness decomposing bodies, people who drowned, people whose buildings collapsed. That he never did that. But there is no equivalent between this visit to LUCIA that we are talking about. No equivalent between the two. I do not see, we do not always agree with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on this platform. We do not always agree with him. But this is not one of those jamborees, one of those say, let me escape from Nigeria attitude. Yes, we agree that if it's about tourism, if it's about traveling, there are more than enough communities and places of attraction in Nigeria. But I don't think he is in the West Indies for sightseeing. This is a state visit. And the honor granted him to address the Senate and the Assembly, I think it's called the House of Assembly of that country, the lawmaking, the bicameral legislature of that country.
The parliament. They call it parliament.
Yes, of that, but it's bicameral. So,
okay, yes.
Yeah, that honor of being able to connect with whether we like it or not. Ola, I do not know about you, but there is something that gives in me whenever I run into an African American brother or sister in the United States of America here. And I always wonder, this could have been linked to me by blood somehow. But understand that people were removed violently from various parts of our continent in Africa and made to go through all kinds of harrowing experiences. You need to, read through and watch movies concerning slavery, the narratives from slaves, former slaves, and people who lived through Jim Crow. And so if there is an opportunity for a country like Nigeria, for that matter, to extend a hand of fellowship, following in the wake of what through African heroes like Kwame Nkrumah, like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Sekou Toure, people like Seda Senghor did in the past, reminding us of our greatness, of our past, a necessary rebirth. And now Bola Tinubu is taking it one notch further, a reconnection in our own time that we can always extend our hands of fellowship across miles of ocean dividing space to become one in the true spirit of being African brothers and sisters. I don't think there is anything wrong with that. But that does not mean that somebody should not impress it on Mr. President, that is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to sometimes spare a thought for moving around Nigeria. You see, it doesn't just happen by a miracle. You don't usually see, if it's complaint about, spending quality time, about relaxation and holiday in Nigeria, I agree with that. But you can't connect between that and his role as the chief visionary of what you call citizens diplomacy, being the number one diplomat for Nigeria. We can't confuse the two roles. So it is good that there will be some butt kicking coming from opposition politicians in Nigeria, but it has to be done responsibly and in a way that is apt and address the issues of the day. Not, this is beyond what Peter Obi should reduce, to a strategic combat and criticism, lapun against the sitting president. Yes, we want him to be constructively criticized, but it should not be done in a frivolous manner.
All right, so let's listen to this short excerpt, and then I'll get your last word on that. Listening.
Nollywood and literature.
This was him talking to the St. Lucia Parliament.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when I assumed the office of the President of Nigeria in May 2023, my administration embarked on a series of economic and social reforms, which were aimed at laying a solid foundation to the promotion of a better Nigeria and to put the country on the path of sustainable growth and development. It is in line with this orientation and to explore areas of cooperation and collaboration between the Eastern Caribbean states that I decided to undertake this state visit to St. Lucia. It is in this spirit that I wish to express Nigeria's readiness to deepen cooperation.
All right, what do you have to say about that short one?
Well, President Bola Tinubu should enjoy a state visit. If indeed it is a state visit to that country, and I want to believe him that he is there in his official capacity. So maybe this is a state visit indeed. However, you look at the size of St. Lucia, it's even, the population is not yet up to 200,000. So you can't even say that it is as big as a local. You see, Bola Tinubu should dream big. Nigerians should have big visions. Yes, we cannot ignore all these small countries that are often overlooked by the big powers of the world. Yes, we would need them, but do not let us, we should not also make the mistake of being the champions of. Well, I have to be cautious the kind of language I use there, because in the days
small
of
countries.
in the days of General Gowon, you remember how he was kissing up to the Papa Doc, Baby Doc of Haiti in those days, and all kinds of characters, questionable characters who were seen as despots of the time, like Mobutu Sese Seko, Bedel Bokaza, were his preferred friends and the fellow travelers, which was why people suspected him of wanting to perpetuate himself eternally in office, and hence the coup that ousted him in 1975. So what we're saying here is that he should look for people that we can always, countries that we can always have equal exchanges, whether bilaterally or multilaterally, with. Engage with them and make sure that whatever comes out of that is fair and equitable to everybody involved. Nigeria should not seek to dominate any country, because we never really loved the idea of being dominated by imperialist nations in the past. That said, I hope he understands the pains that some of his reforms in Nigeria, some of this things that is marketing internationally, the pains it has caused those who live within Nigeria. The honest truth must be told. Yes, he's trying his effort, but that effort is really not telling on the transformation, the positive transformations that anybody would expect at the moment.
Of his primary job.
Yes.
Yeah.
He should just keep quiet. If those things materialize into some positive vibes and impact for the people of Nigeria, then he should roll out the drums for celebration. As it is now, Nigerians are really grilling under the pains of whatever reforms he has initiated.
All right, good. I want you to take maybe 30 seconds or to do a quick shout out to my uncle, your cousin. He's always reaching out and he's always applauding us for the work we're doing here. That's Mr. Rotimi Ajayi in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, that's our big bro. Well, the truth of the matter is that is another pathfinder for Rose Abitogun. Remember, Rotimi, my big cousin, Rotimi Ajayi Abitogun, in this country, amongst African, indeed Nigerian settlers, was called the first. He, at the time, was actually licensed as a pilot, but now is so big about healthcare investment, and we celebrate him. Thank you for being part of what we do, sir. This is our community. Everybody in Texas must be mobilized, and you have heard. Of course, you will get the details in the next topic. that unless we organize ourselves into a community, they will pounce on us, make means of us, because that is what they always love to do. Everything they're doing now is to target the brown and black and what have you people, and then they garnish it as if they are doing some immigration reform. What a word. Thank you, Uncle. Thank you, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Join the conversations in the comment section. Let us know your thoughts. Should President Tinubu be on this vacation or not? I mean, it's not a vacation, it's official. Okay.
Really, it doesn't look like a vacation to me. He has addressed the joint parliament of that.
You made a statement.
Of the parliament of that country, yes.
Chief, you made a statement. You said if it's in fact official, that's how you said it. Do you look forward to the day the day in the future when we will just believe we know automatically that it's official?
Yes, and see, Ola, it is not enough for Mr. President to visit St. Lucia or anywhere in the world. Whatever good is seen there must be taken back home and replicated. If it doesn't flow that way, then there is a curse somewhere, and then may we never be cursed. That is my word of advice for him. And if he wants great people to visit Nigeria, make the country look good. Sanitation, you should be big about that. Otherwise, the country will continue to be, will continue to be demarketed. That is not where we want to be. So, Tinubu, enjoy your stay while it lasts in St. Lucia.
All right. Did you know that we have our first Cybertruck Tesla driver in Nigeria now? Anyway, leave that alone. Just hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notification. Nigeria is going to be great. Nigeria go better. We'll be right back.